Well, John, can we start with the usual? And you've spoken about injuries to us all season, and there's more, isn't there? What can you tell us?
Sean McConville's got a calf strain. Joe Pritchard's isn't as serious as what we think. Both will probably miss Saturday, so well, Sean definitely will miss Saturday. And that's the update from that, really, from the weekend.
In terms of Pritchard, is that a shorter term one?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I don't think that'll be any longer than a couple of weeks. But it's a blow, massive game coming up for us at the weekend. And you know, Joe probably one of the most creative players in the league, so yeah, you're going to miss him.
And Sean, do you see him being?
Well, Sean, the problem with Sean is it's longer term, and you know, you've only seen the impact that he has every season when he plays. Often captains the side when Seamus isn't there, and just his ability to pick passes out and his ball delivery is fantastic. And you know, he's been chipping in with goals as well this season, so that's another massive blow for us. And when you're losing creative players, you know, it's difficult to replace them. Have the medics been able to give you a sort of time frame with Sean? Whatever time frame they give us, I know Sean will be back before that, because he's that type of person, he's that type of character, and thankfully he does heal quite well.
Christmas after, before?
Round about that, I would imagine.
Anyone coming back, John?
Well, Cody's slowly getting there. We've just got to be mindful of the minutes with him. Big Tory the same. And then others, no, not immediately going to be back.
Defensively, you've had it all season, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a problem. Hopefully Ryan Ashley will be back in a couple of weeks. And well, Michael will probably be back early New Year, I'd imagine.
He's been a massive loss, hasn't he?
He has. The influence he has in both boxes as well, you know. Very good header of ball, pace, good tackler, good player. You know, one of the best defensive signings we've made in a long time. So that's a blow, but you know, gives other people opportunities.
I guess you've got to get on with it, haven't you? It's one of those.
There's no other way to do it. You know, you can't just say, oh, you know, we're down to the bare bones and we're not going to play. You've seen the way the lads acquitted themselves in the second half against the top side in Sheffield Wednesday last week. That tells you that we're not going to throw the towel and we're going to go all out every game we play. In terms of the bare bones, are you looking at your bench this weekend thinking there might be some youngsters on there? Possibly. You know, more encouraging news, we had a really good performance from the 23s against Morecambe, a very strong Morecambe side, on Tuesday, and they managed to get through to the next round of the Lancashire Cup, and that was impressive. Some good youngsters playing as well, so that bodes well for the future as well. Big week, isn't it? You've got a league game that I'm sure that's the bread and butter you want to address, the league form, and then 2 cup competitions, which mean a lot to you, don't they? Of course they do, and you know, you can only take the first game as it comes, and if you start looking ahead, you quickly get bogged down with other things, and you take your eye off what the main prize is, which is trying to get 3 points on Saturday. So that's what we'll be focusing on. But it is a big week for the club as well. You know, the 2 games after that have financial implications more than anything. So that's what we have to be mindful of the fact that we have to keep the pot ticking over and try to recoup, you know, the money that we spend throughout the season. Just ask you about Seamus Keneally, who's on the verge of 300 appearances for Accrington Stanley this weekend. Could you just sum up his contribution in your second spell as manager here? Been outstanding, Seamus. Great captain, great footballer. Matured into the role of captain really well. His age hasn't become a problem because he's one of the fittest at the club. Looks after himself, lives his life right. And he plays every game as though his life depends on it. And what couldn't you like about that? Added to that, he's a very, very good footballer. And this day and age, to play 300 games for any club is an achievement in my eyes. And he's certainly been a big part of why we're sitting in these surroundings today. You knew what you were getting, didn't you, when you signed him? Obviously, yeah, we had him at Sligo, and you know, I know we all go on about like it's all our yesterdays, but if you'd have seen his performance when we beat Rosenborg away in the Europa League, it was one of the best midfield performances you'll see. So we knew that we had a good player in Ireland.
When you talk about him as a captain, John, sometimes people look at football captains these days and say, is there such a role these days? It's someone wearing an armband. What does Seamus do for you?
You get some of them that is just an armband, and you get some who were born to be a captain. In my opinion, Seamus was. And he leads the players on the pitch. You know, he leads by example. And he tries to keep them standards up in training, which is good.
And you do leave him out from time to time. How is he with that?
He's fine. You know, he understands his role at the club, and he understands that he will play a lot of football. And when he's needed, he's always in optimum condition. You know, you've seen it the other day. He came on after 15 minutes, and by the end of the game, he wouldn't have realised he was a sub. You know, he'd come on as sub. Played a really, really good game on Saturday, so I know whenever I call him, he'll be ready and he'll be willing.
Just in terms of this game this weekend, just been talking to Seamus actually, he likened it a little bit to the Cheltenham game here not that long ago, trying to get that win, and however it comes, just go and get it. Do you view that this weekend a little bit like that? Yeah,
the difference is obviously it's away from home, but we've got to focus on what the improvement that we've shown since the Fleetwood game has been down to hard work, and that's got to be the main focus, and we've got to keep that going till the end of the season. And sometimes you can drop off that, and it's up to us and Seamus as a captain to keep the lads working out.
Have you drawn a sort of that's the lowest point?
Yeah, I think so, and hopefully that will be the lowest point.
What's changed then since Fleetwood?
Yeah, I think an awareness. The players have got an awareness of the responsibilities to each other, to the club, to the fans, and themselves. And, you know, you can easily feel sorry for yourself in this league because there's that many good teams, and sometimes luck doesn't go for you, sometimes decisions don't go for you, but you've got to keep going, and the best way out of something is through it, and the lads know that they have to work hard, and that's the minimum standard, and we've been hitting them levels, so that's good.
Just interesting to know, John, what was your reaction after Fleetwood Town? Would you have dealt with that a lot differently years ago, or was the John Coleman from your first spell here pretty evident when you put a performance in like that?
I think I would have been more vocal in the changing rooms afterwards. I think I might have lost my temper and my head a bit. As you get older, you get a little bit wiser, but you know, we had a 4-hour meeting the day after and an opportunity to iron a few things out, and hopefully they are in the past now.
So is that all pretty calm, those meetings these days?
Yeah, I mean, there's still times when you have to raise your voice, there's still times when you do get angry and you show your anger, and I think the players want that, you know. But if you're doing that all the while, you just become a background noise, and I don't want to become that. I want what I say to have an impact.
What are you expecting Cambridge to be all about? I think it's 3 0-0s in a row, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're hard to break down, that's for sure. And they're a good side. I've watched them play, and you know, they've got their own strengths that we'll be trying to negate, and hopefully try and exploit some of what we perceive as their weaknesses. But every game you play in this league it's a battle of wills. You need to bounce here or there, but you got to. I think the big thing in the coming weeks is going to be concentration for us. We've just got to keep our concentration levels up to the maximum.
Do you sense that yourselves and Cambridge might be in relatively similar positions come May?
I can't speak for them. I want to get to the situation where we get enough points on the board way before May that we're not looking over our shoulder. And in order to do that, you've got to work hard. Whether that's on the training pitch, whether that's how you analyse games, whether that's, you know, on the actual day of the game, the pitch, what you do on the pitch. But everything's got to be geared towards getting a result, whatever the competition you're in, whatever the next one is up, and that's what we'll be focusing on today.
Is it noticeable to you, John, that League One is tougher this year?
I don't particularly think it's tougher. It has been any tougher than the last 3 or 4 seasons. I think what's happened is it's concertina now, so there's no there's no, you're not surprised if anyone beats anybody. Sometimes you need all your best players out on the pitch at the one time, and because we haven't been getting that, you feel as though you've got a ready-made excuse, and I don't want that. You know, I want us to compete every game we play. You're seeing, you know, although we've been decimated with injuries, you're seeing how well we competed on the second half on Saturday. So we've got to keep doing that. And whoever gets picked, they're at this club for a reason. So if they're not good enough to be playing, don't be hiding behind that, because they shouldn't be in the first place.